Hey guys, Roddy Donegan with you. Welcome along to our latest installment of our Barber review videos. Today we're going to take a little look at how to change a switch on a clipper. From time to time the connections can sometimes come a little bit loose. The brass connector sometimes doesn't quite meet, and then you get that sort of little dicky clicking sound when you try to start your clipper. Should be a fairly straightforward process. This particular, the clipper that actually it has happened to, which I believe is actually the Legend clipper, which is on the left hand side here. And I've just put beside it its counterpart, the Icon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn both on and see if we can sort of notice the difference, between the two when they both started. So firstly, this is the Icon, and we're going to turn it on, and we're just going to have a little look at what happens to the switch when it gets turned on, and then we're going to compare it to the Legend, which currently the connection seems a little loose, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to change the switch itself and see how we go. So first of all, that's but just be careful not to touch inside because it is obviously switched on. But if we have a little look at what happens, so the connection arcs when you flick the switch and sends a pulse up to the coil, which then creates the magnetic force around the shunt arm and creates that movement in the blades. So the brass contacts are sitting firmly, and it's driving the motor. It's no problem. So not much really to look at other than you can see it arcing and it's working. It's sending that signal up. So that's that. So that's the Icon. So let's have a little look at the Legend and see what the difference is. It's working. And there we have it. It doesn't actually click on. See? It's a little bit, for some reason, when you go to, it's just not quite connecting. The switch just seems a little bit loose. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to change that switch right now. Okay, so I've taken the switch off the Legend, and it's not really all that fiddly a process really. You literally just unscrew this from this point here, and the cable comes through here, one connects to this, and the other lead connects up here. So it's all very simple and basic. I've literally unscrewed it from both points, lifted the cable from the coil, and then just lifted the switch out. So that in itself was a very simple task. This is the old switch, which I've taken off. There doesn't seem to be anything really that I can pick that's an actual manufacturing fault or anything like that with the switch, because when you compare that switch to the replacement one which we've got in stock at Barber, there's absolutely nothing different about it. So I'm just hoping and basing it on possibly that the switch was just positioned incorrectly when it was manufactured. It wasn't quite screwed in properly, and that by pulling it out and replacing it and just tightening everything up, that's actually going to make the switch just work better, and fix whatever little glitch was going on. So very simple to replace now that we've taken it out, and I'm going to go ahead and do it in a moment, but it literally just sits in on top of that point there. So you literally just screw it in there, and then your cable comes back in, and then it screws back on top of that one. and then the other cable comes in and connects up to the coil, and Bob's your uncle. So let's go ahead and reattach the switch. Alright, so we changed the switch, reconnected all the wires. So let's just take a little look and see how we went. Just be careful, guys, not to touch any cables when your lid's off and your clipper's turned on. Sounds obvious, but you might get a bit complacent and get a little shock. Just be careful. So the switch, it's definitely better. I wish I knew what caused the switch to break in the first place, or become dicky, or not work. You know, upon inspection of both switches, the old one, which I have right here, which is the old switch there, and then the new switch, which I've just put in, both seem the same, but obviously just something to do with how the brass contacts are connecting and arcing and sending that pulse up to through the coil. Just wasn't quite happening, so I've changed it, and it's definitely a lot better. We're not getting that loose connection that we were getting before. So I hope that helps you guys in terms of showing you how to change a switch on a clipper. And if it ever does go on you in the future and you've watched this video, you know, rest assured that a lot of the stuff, if your clipper is out of warranty, you can do yourself. And you know, a switch is one of those really simple things. Like I said, just unscrew here and there on both sides of the switch, and then release the blue cable from the coil, pull the cable out, and then literally this switch just slips out. Replace the switch, screw it back in, reattach the cables, and away you go. And most probably you're not going to have any problems. So that's how to change a switch trigger assembly on a Wahl Clipper. Thanks for watching, guys.